Good evening. Welcome to the month of September board meeting, advisory board meeting, and we welcome all of you. The regular notice of requirement of the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act has been complied with, and that adequate advance notice of this meeting was given at least 48 hours in advance. On January 19th, 2022, notice was mailed to the Carrier Post and posted on the district's website. Prepare for roll call, please.
Ms. Alvarez. Mr. Custis. Ms. Gillespie. Mr. Gonzalez is absent this evening. Mr. Hudson will be arriving late this evening. Board Member Leyba Martinez. Ms. Merricks. Vice President Nelson. President Mohammed. We do have a quorum.
Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
At this time, I'll open the floor to a motion to approve the minutes of the August board meeting. Second. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any questions? Hearing none at this time. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes. At this time, we will go into our committee reports. Reporting out from the Finance and Operations Committee, we will have Board Member Alvarez.
Thank you, Ray. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. In attendance was Ray Cox, Dr. Martinez, and staff. Also, myself, Falio Leyba Martinez, and VP President Nnamdi Nelson. Thank you to Eastside High and staff for facilitating a tour of the school. Thanks to Ray and Dr. Martinez and their team for giving us updates on the facility on how the $50 million of funds will be invested into Eastside High. Eastside High is looking to hire more operations and maintenance staff to assist with the day-to-day operations. We want to make sure that all staff understands, as a board, we are working partners. We don't want anyone to feel as if we're separate, we're a team, and we're here to work together. There has been some cement work completed outside in the front of the building. There will be a plan to give the front of Eastside High a facelift, fixing any of the broken cement that you presently see. Ceiling tiles have been replaced in the building, as well as painting in different areas. There's a priority list of other items that will be addressed, such as the HVAC system, some leaks in the roof needed, paint, and some other items. To assist with some of the minor issues, such as paint and cleaning different needed as areas, Dr. Martinez and Ray will put together a couple dates for services, dates where we can invite volunteers to come and assist. This will assist with getting some things done while we are looking to hire more staff. Overall, the $50 million won't fix everything yet. It will allow us to take care of some of the needed areas concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alvarez. Next, we're going to have the Policy and Governance Committee being reported out by our General Counsel, Sam Price. I reject that, excuse me. It's going to be Minister Wasim, President Mohammed, who will report out on the Policy Committee. Following the Policy Committee's report, there will be 2 votes for the board. The first will be to approve the second reading of the various policies, as well as adopting the board goals for the 22-23 school year. President Mohammed.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cox. And first, I want to acknowledge the members of the board who so graciously, who are part of our Policy and Governance Committee that's been timely every, just about every meeting, policy meeting that we've had. Their time is available with Elton Custis and Cameron Hudson. I thank them all. And as well as General Counsel, Ms. Samantha Price, as well as Ms. Our sister Allison Hester Solomon. Nevertheless, we had some updates on district reps' upcoming training and opportunities that's coming for the board members with the NJSBA workshop that we had on, that will be coming up on October the 25th to 27th in Atlantic City. We discussed, I think we did a new name for that, but I'm still calling it caucus meeting. Is that right? Is that appropriate language, Madam Counsel? Thank you very much. And we discussed going into, back into caucus meetings, and I think that is very important as I report out, because that was something that helped a lot of us years ago when we came onto the board, that we had actually, which is also a public meeting too as well, that the public is also able to attend to go over some of the issues that may pertain to the upcoming board meeting, that we get an opportunity to meet as a board and deal with any issues, or as information is made public to the public, so as well the public can come and have those conversations before the board meeting so that we can be totally prepared. So we talked about that, and we decided to move that until, I'm just going over the top of my head, in January, due to the fact of the short month of October, with many of the things going on in October, and of course November being another short month of education, with the holidays, and we decided to go into it in the new year, ushering it in the back end, which I think would be very helpful to the board members, because I know as a board member coming on when we had those caucus meetings was very helpful, to be prepared for the actual meeting so that we can deal with many of the issues that come up during our meeting. Also, another one of our board agenda items, we talked about the CUSAC overview and the goals that we wanted to develop, governance codes that we wanted to develop as a committee, and governing some of the goals that we have as board members. And we had a great, I want to publicly thank Ms. Terry from the NJSIA, well, I got NJSIA on my mind. Pardon me, okay? Nevertheless, national school boards, New Jersey school boards, pardon me, for doing a wonderful job and giving us the outreach that we need as board members, because I want to say each board member here sacrificed their time, their energy, but yet they want to be proficient in being a board member to serve the community. So we think that is very, very important as a board. And we discussed our policy revision, so I'll hand that back over to General Counsel, and so that we can approve, I believe, these, and I want to be willing in this information, the policy changes due to the rest of the board members. Thank you. And I believe this will be made public too for those, if you want to go online later and see it as well too.
Thank you, Board President. And before I get into the policies, I am going to read the two board goals that will be voted on. The first goal that was developed at the annual August retreat was the develop of a governance code of conduct for board members that will support the board in fulfilling their oversight responsibilities professionally and proficiently. The second board goal for the year is to develop an onboarding and orientation plan for new members to join the governance team efficiently and effectively. And after this policy committee report, we will be, or the board will be voting on those two goals. Then we have several policies that are up for second reading tonight. The first policy is Board Policy 6147.1, which is the evaluation of individual student performance. The policy committee is recommending the revision of this policy to clarify the eligibility to be named the school's valedictorian, salutatorian, or a member of the school's honor court. Policy number 2 is Board Policy 1330, which is the use of school facilities. The committee is recommending revisions to this policy to propose restructuring the current organizational groupings and the fee structure when granting permission to outside groups to use district facilities. Then we have Board Policy 6145.1 and 6145.2 regarding intramural competition and interscholastic competition. Specifically, the committee is proposing to clarify the eligibility of students to participate in athletics at one of the 2 comprehensive high schools. Board Policy 5131 regarding conduct and discipline. These revisions are to add language to the policy regarding hazing in response to a new law which requires update to the policy. Board Policy 6140 regarding curriculum adoption. The committee is proposing to add language to the policy for inclusion of certain topics, again, in compliance with several laws that were passed requiring update to the policy. Board Policy 5141.11, this is regarding staff vaccination and screening testing. The committee is recommending repeal of this policy. This policy was adopted in response to Executive Order 302, which required vaccination of staff. Since this executive order is no longer operational, we're proposing a repeal of the policy. And finally, on second reading is Board Policy 5141.10 regarding face coverings and general COVID-19 mitigation strategies. The board is proposing revisions to the policy to wearing of face masks by students, staff, and visitors optional, unless, of course, circumstances warrant a change in the masking policy. And then there are 2 policies for first reading. The first one is 5131.1 regarding harassment, intimidation, and bullying. There are revisions proposed to the policy to comply with 2 new state laws. One includes cyber harassment as a crime, as well as adding language on recording incidents, notification of incidents to parents and guardians, and reporting to the Department of Education. And the second policy for first reading is 3115.2, which is the use of district technology. There are revisions proposed to the policy in compliance with the district's receipt of a federal ECF grant. So specifically, the policy is being revised to require the provision of a district-provided device to every student, that these devices should not be shared among students, that the devices travel to and from campus with the student, and that students must use a district-issued device for off-campus schoolwork to ensure that the device used by students meets district technology standards. And that are the policies for first reading.
And may I ask before we take the vote, any questions from any of the board members about any of those policies that were read? Any questions? Thank you. Thank you, Madam Superintendent and Council.
Thank you, Board President, and thank you, Ms. Price. At this time, we'll be opening the floor for 3 different votes. The first, I will open the floor for motion to approve the board goals for the 22-23 school year. Is there a motion? We have a motion. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing no questions at this time, all in favor? Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion to approve the 2022-23 goals of the board has been approved. The second, I'll now open the floor for a motion to approve the first reading of policy 5131.1 and 3515.2. We have a motion. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing no questions, all in favor? Any opposed? Hearing no opposition, again, the first reading is approved for policy 5131.1 and policy 3515.2. And finally, I'll now open the floor for a motion to approve the second reading and final adoption of policy 6147.1, 1330, 6145.1 and 6145.2, 5131, 6140, 5141.11, and 5141.10. Is there a motion, please? We have a motion. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none at this time. All in favor? Any opposed? Seeing no opposition, the approval as the second reading and final adoption of those policies has been approved. At this time now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll move to the Teaching and Learning Committee. In Board Member Gonzalez's absence, the committee will be reported out from Board Member Gillespie.
Good evening. Teaching, Learning, and Student Supports Committee. In attendance, Superintendent McCombs. Thank you for the intro music. Board Member Gillespie, Board Member Gonzalez, Board Member Merricks, Dr. Martinez, and Brian Gregg. Updates. Start Strong testing is underway, and staff are supporting schools with the testing procedures. Curriculum updates are being added to the website. All annual school plans are completed and approved. The administrative team is making sure that the delayed starts on Wednesday does not impact family schedules before care is coming. They will also provide attendance data from Professional Development Wednesdays to see the impact. Next meeting, we will discuss timeline for CUSAC, grading policies, and student assessments.
Thank you, Ms. Alvarez. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we're going to introduce Ms. Gillespie. I'm sorry. I apologize. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we are going to introduce and swear in our student representatives. Here with us tonight, we have Nancy Lopez from Creative Arts, Tashawn Fitzsimmons from Camden High School, Tanaya Avilés from Brim Medical Arts, and Andre Skanes from BPLA. If our board representatives would now please stand to be administered the oath of office. And if you would kindly raise your right hands and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey, and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. I state your names. Do possess the qualifications to be a Camden City student representative to the Advisory Board of Education, and that I will do my best to support and represent my fellow students to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congratulations. Madam Superintendent.
Test. There we are. Thank you, Board Secretary. And I cannot say enough positive things to the board as well as to the public who are here today about our student board reps for the 22-23 school year. I had the opportunity to meet with them just on last week, on Friday or Thursday. Or was it? Yeah, all the days are running together. But we had a wonderful time. We ate lunch together. They talked to me about the beginning of their school year, their grows and their glows. So today we're going to take this time, since they have been duly sworn in, to give them the opportunity to share some of their glows and grows as they have started the 22-23 school year. I mean, we have some stellar, fabulous, and phenomenal young people here in the Camden City School District, and this is just a small representation of our young people. So we will begin now with share out so that the board members can hear from our new student board representatives. And we can begin right on the end. Nancy, if you don't mind kicking us off from Creative Arts and sharing your glows and grows, and then we'll go right down the line. Please make sure you speak into the microphone.
Oh, thank you. Hello, my name is Nancy Lopez. As Superintendent McComb said, I represent Creative Arts High School. And first and foremost, the glows. So starting the school year, I heard positive feedback so far. The food has been so good so far, so we truly appreciate that. But it was so good that the lines are so long. So that has been kind of a bit of a problem. But understandably because the food is really good this year. So I really appreciate the good food. And then the second is, let's see, second glow. There hasn't been a lot of, I've seen a lot of unity among the schools happening now, which is, compared to last year, you can see the vast difference. Last year, not a lot of schools were mingling or intermingling with each other, but now you see some more unity happening. Like, for example, last week, I believe, we had a pep rally with all 4 schools in one area, and then nothing happened, like no fights, no nothing, which was really cool. And then, so far, the curriculum has been good, academically wise, of course, but also as being like a creative arts high school, the funding, I guess one goal for the school could be like the funding with instruments and with providing more art supplies and more resources to my peers. Because, for example, I'm in the instrumental department, and there's so many new incoming students who actually want to pick up this new discipline and really involve themselves into it. But unfortunately, we don't have enough instruments to provide them, especially new ones. So I think the financing and helping students to get more resources has become a little of a problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Yep, you can keep on going to Brim.
Hi, I'm Tanaya. I'm from Brim Medical Arts. We're gonna start off with some of the grows because I'm a negative person first. Some of the grows for this school year were like our main object of problem issues were the scheduling. Most of them are like finished now, but a lot of the students have been put into like gym classes that weren't there before, and we only have gym for the first 2 marking periods. So after for the 3rd and 4th marking period, I don't know how that's gonna work where everyone has gym, but we don't have a gym class to do it. And then there was some issues with the pharmacy tech class that we just got because a lot of the students, it was interfering with the classes, but they just organized it so that the students that are taking it is all seniors. They only take the classes that they need to graduate. So because we need health, English, and senior seminar to graduate, that's their 3 classes, and then they only have 1 other class, whereas the rest of their week is just study hall and then when they have the pharmacy tech. Another issue was bathrooms. We only have 1 bathroom in use on our side now because the other bathroom, it just exploded the other day from what I've heard. So one of the girls, she was using the bathroom and the toilet just ruptured on her, and someone was in the stall next to her, so unfortunately she got wet too. And then other issues with the bathroom is one of our dryers doesn't work in that 1 bathroom, and then the other bathroom there's never any soap at all, and some of the sinks don't work, so it's kind of hard to operate. And then I guess for some glows for the school was, again, as Nancy said, the food has been great. I personally like how they have a cold side versus a hot side, whereas before you had to go to each section of the same thing. But yeah, the lines do get long because everybody's I want hot food, da da da. And IDs are way better now because a lot of people they didn't work last year. Mine still doesn't work, but we have forms now, so where we can sign up and be go get a new ID. I think that's it.
Hello, my name is Andre Skanes, and I'm a senior at Camden Big Picture Learning Academy. I would like to start off with the grows first. And for the grows in my school, I feel as though it's more like a thing that's with multiple schools, and it's not just my school, and it's just the lack of teachers, because we have a pre-calculus class and we have no math teacher, and we need pre-calculus to graduate. And as a college student, I will be going in and not knowing how to do pre-calculus, I don't really have a lot of grows for my school because I have a lot more glows, because personally love my school. I feel as though my school really cares about my education, and I feel as though my school has really supportive teachers, and overall, I just feel as though my school is good. So thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tyshawn Fitzsimmons, a senior at Camden High School. I just want to start by saying I'm going to back up what Nancy said, that the lunch definitely has been better. It's been like more options. So I also like how the left side of the cafeteria is always pizza, and then the right side is always like you could get a cheeseburger, a sandwich, a salad, or you could actually get like an actual meal with nutrients and protein and all that, because it'd be like all different options. And I also like how our fruit option also vary. Like we be having grapes, pineapples, watermelon, cucumbers, like, and it's not even all just all together. It'd be like its own container, so it's not cross-contamination. So I also like that. I also like how security is more like security this year, because like everything is more in part with things. Like the hallways actually be clear most of the time. It's not really like fights during period transition or just like fights period in our building. And the only thing I would say our school needs to work on is just like the time periods for our classroom, because some students like me and others have like short attention span sometimes. Like I can also really put my mind to things if I really want to, but sometimes I can just listen to somebody talk for like so long and just like lose train of thought for a little bit. So I would like our 8 periods to be back, because I also like having the same schedule every day, seeing all my teachers, doing all my classes. And what else? That'll be all, guys. Thank you.
We definitely want to thank each and every one of our board reps for reporting out. As I shared with you before, we want to hear the glows, we want to hear the grows, and you never have to feel bad, you never have to feel nervous, you never have to fear any retaliation for being able to speak honestly with regard to your glows and your grows, because your school experience is most important. So we want to take this opportunity. Oh, I'm sorry, you have your hand raised? Yes, a comment from our board rep from Camden High School, an additional comment, yes.
I'm sorry, guys. I also meant to mention this. So a few students also asked for like affordable school merch and co-op also. Like if you have all your credits, you can just leave early a little bit. But I'm sorry, you can finish now. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Another member has something to say.
Hey, I'm Andre again. Another thing, like another issue, I'm sorry, that I would like to state is like the lack of communication with students. I feel as though there's a lot of things that go on and we don't really know what's going on until like it happens. So, like in a sense of like events and stuff that's going on in the school, like I was told that like certain people didn't even know that there was a back to school night, and we just found out like the day before, you know? Oh, I'm sorry. And yeah, so it's just like I would like a more of like a communication with like the students and like the teachers and stuff, so we could like get to know like what's going on and try to be more prepared.
My bad, I forgot something too. Something I wanted to talk about was AP classes. Before they used to be blocked, so we had them every single day, but now they're not. So I only have them every other day, and I have AP Calc, and I'm really struggling, but I can't go see my calculus teacher because in the morning she has her prep time, and then if I go see her at lunch, we don't have a lot of time either, and sometimes she's not available, like after school. So it's been like really hard trying to like catch up in the class.
This is the last thing I'm gonna say, guys. I'm sorry, but backing up what Andre said about the lack of communication, I would say that we just should have like not a morning announcements, but like a teacher should play like a video or something to let like people know what's happening this week or what's gonna happen like today, or just like morning announcements in general. So yeah, that's all.
You sure? It's okay. It's okay. Listen, this is their first time, many of them presenting, except for one who served last year. So we want to give them every opportunity. We yield the floor to you, our young people, so you never have to apologize. Take that right out of your vocabulary because your voices matter and they count. And what you're sharing with us, and many of the themes you shared here today, with the exception of one, you did share with me when we met. So I do want you to know, before I kick it over to board president so that we can have our board members ask questions, each and every one of the areas that you had a concern with, your principals were made aware. Dr. Martinez, who's the lead for the chief schools, our chief schools officer who works with your principals, was made aware also. They had to share with me for accountability what the next steps were for being able to address your concerns. So every concern that you raised, from lack of communication all the way over to the scheduling issues and concerns, and everything that was raised from all of you was included. The only new item had to do with funding for instruments. And so I know our school business administrator was vigorously taking notes so that we can see what we can do to enhance and to bolster that area for our young people. And also from Brim, not knowing about the bathroom situation, something that must have occurred since our board meeting, since our board rep meeting. Okay, no problem. It's okay. That's all right. We know we will have our facilities team to take a look at it. Again, this is Camden High School. It's a brand new building. We're still continuing to work with the SDA and any of the contractors to make sure that we get swift and expeditious repairs made since we are in a brand new building. So again, thank you to each and every one of our board reps. Your items have been addressed. There are next steps, and now we want to yield space to the board members. If you have anything that you want to share, I'll kick it over to board president to facilitate.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. And I also horsey back on what you were saying and echo what Madam Superintendent was saying to our young board reps. At this time, are there any board members that have any comments or questions or encouragement to our young people, please? Ms. Alvarez.
Thank you, Board President. I just want to welcome you all to our team, because this is a team. I am ecstatic to see that you all are here to share your glows and grows. And like the superintendent mentioned, your voices matter, and you're being seen and heard. So thank you and welcome.
I just want to say the same as my colleague here, that you guys are really the most important part of this meeting. Nothing else matters but what you have to say. So it's very important that you take this job seriously, that you communicate with your peers on a daily basis so that you can report out everything. We can't really do our job if we don't know. So it's important that you show up and you take this job very, very seriously. And we appreciate you being here.
Mic check, mic check. All right, I'm good, I'm on. Congratulations and welcome, most certainly. And I would just like to iterate what the other school board member said. This is a job, this is a task, and you guys are taking the first step of leadership and leading your school building and letting us know what you guys need. So again, welcome to the team, and anything that we can do, please keep sending out the messages, sending out the concerns so we can tackle them for you guys. That is what we're here for. So thank you and welcome.
I want to thank you all to the board. It's such a pleasure to meet all you guys, and I'm looking forward to doing great things with you. And like Naima said, take the job serious because it's an awesome position and it gives you opportunity not only to reach out to your peers, but also to educate yourself for different things. Thank you.
Hi guys, welcome to the start of the school year. I admire, all of our student reps for, stepping up to the plate and being that voice for, hundreds of students within our school district. And I echo the rest of my colleagues, your input is so valuable to us, to your teachers, to the administrator, to all of our support staff on how we can do our job better. If there's anything that we can do, to help you out, just let us know.
I have one more thing to say. I wanted to be like them, I'm sorry. We are ecstatic that you love the food. That is the greatest thing to hear. We are ecstatic about that.
Yes, ma'am, Board Member Gillespie. And I know we may be dealing with this later. I just want to publicly thank Vice President Nnamdi Nelson for his initiative today of getting out and wanting to help in the community, that we appreciate that, along with our dear sister Naima Gillespie and others that was present, but I'm pretty sure the other board members would have been present during that time because they were probably returning from work or at work. So not to exclude you guys on that, but I just wanted to publicly thank you for that, brother, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you to our board president and board members, and again to our student reps. And we're going to keep alive the theme that our students are first, and we want to hear their voices in many ways. And at this time, I'll ask the board to transition down to the first two rows. And before I begin my superintendent's report, we will have a special student performance.
Okay. We are Creative Arts High School Concert Choir, and we are 2 weeks, 3 weeks in, or three rehearsals in for our starting of our concert choir year. And we are so excited and thrilled when we got the call to sing before you and to honor Hispanic Heritage Month. And towards the middle, I think October 13th or 13th or 17th, there will be a Hispanic Heritage Assembly program, and hopefully all 4 schools will be also invited and in collaborating with making of that Hispanic Heritage program. The song that we're going to sing is called Trépanu Coqueiro. It is in Portuguese, so it wasn't an easy task to get the kids to learn it in a different language, much less Portuguese. So we are singing this song again. We just learned this song, and our director, Mr. Freddie, one of our directors, Mr. Omar Frederick Pratt, who's alumni of Creative Arts High School, will be conducting this piece, Trépanu Coqueiro.
Sum, 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 Trapa no coquero chia coco y pipi neko neko no coquero la la. Trapa no coquero chia coco y pipi neko neko no coquero la la. Mamá calle María, María fue pasear. Mamá calle María, María fue pasear. Os paseos de María facem papá, mamá chora. Os paseos de María facem papá, mamá chora. Sum sum trapa no coquero chia coco y pipi neko neko no coquero la la. Trapa no coquero chia coco y pipi neko neko no coquero la la. Sum 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 sum
Samba, samba,
Mamá calle María, María fue pasear. Mamá calle María, María fue pasear. Os paseos de María facem papá, mamá chora. Os paseos de María facem papá, mamá chora. Sum sum trapa no coquero chia coco y pipi neko neko no coquero la la. Trapa no coquero chia coco y pipi neko neko. Yola. Sum 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 Zumba.
Okay, great. You can hear me. Excellent. Wow. I cannot top that. Please, please, please know that as your superintendent and our students, I know you're listening as you're transitioning back to your seats, but as I stand here, I'm almost speechless because to think about the fact that those young people just learned that music in the short time that we've been in school, and that is just a small example of the talent, the brilliance, and just the excellence that resides in each and every one of our young people, regardless of if they're at Creative Arts or they're attending Eastside High or one of the other schools that we have here. Our young people are brilliant, and you can see that as long as they have someone to nurture them, to support them, to teach them, and to draw that wonderful, the wonderful gifts that they have inside out of them, then they will continue to shine and let others see their example. So we are so very proud of our young people again. I will not be before you long. I have an abbreviated superintendent's report, or at least I think it's abbreviated, but when I start to think about our wonderful district, I want to share with you all of the things that we are doing to continue to improve our district. And so, again, good evening to everyone. As you are aware from the selection that was shared and the introduction by Ms. Farmer, we are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month here in the Camden City School District. Thank you for joining us for our September regular advisory board meeting. We are excited to welcome everyone back in person again to kick off the 22-23 school year. Each year, Americans observe National Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th to October 15th. by celebrating the histories, the cultures, and the contributions of American citizens whose ancestors came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. The observation started in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon Johnson and was expanded by President Ronald Reagan in 1988 to cover a 30-day period starting on September 15th and ending on October 15th. So again, this is a special time in our district where we celebrate the rich Hispanic heritage, and we want to make sure that our young people, we intentionally design lessons to ensure that our young people learn about their heritage as well. Moving on to the next slide. As you can see from our agenda items tonight, I'll provide the board and the public with updates. Some of those will be around September focus topics and also other updates as well as district highlights. Let's get started with a few updates with regard to September. So our first few days of school have been successful. We are so excited to have our young people back in our buildings, and you can see from the pictures here that our young people are also excited. From pre-K all the way up to high school, there's a different energy that we feel and experience as we walk through the halls of our schools. Our school leaders, our teachers, and all of our staff members worked so hard to prepare for this new school year, and it shows. Next slide. I shared this previously, but I want to keep sharing this information because it is critical that our parents, our families, community members know how they can get their questions answered and their concerns addressed. So again, our Welcome Center was launched toward the end of last school year, and it is up and running. We are staffed with individuals who are able to support our families, specifically our immigrant families and our newcomer families, those families who are new to our country, to support them as they transition into not only Camden City, but into the United States. And so we are pleased that our Welcome Center, which is housed at Veterans Memorial School, is up and running. We have Ms. Nilsa Cruz Perez and Ms. Mary Suarez Colon, who are the 2 points of contact who help to ensure that everything is running smoothly there. So we are so very grateful and excited about the work that has been done there. Our central office team led by Ms. Erica Okafor and so many others that I can name. I could go on and on. Principal Sapowski, who has made this a very welcoming atmosphere. So please spread the word. Spread the word. If you know any families who are in need of assistance, and they specifically need assistance as they're acclimating to a new environment here, please let them know that the Vets Welcome Center is able to help in many, many different ways. Additionally, the Solution Center remains a place where you can call to get any of your concerns addressed so that we can make sure that we are supporting you as parents and eliminating any barriers that might get in the way of your child having a wonderful education. Again, your first primary point of contact is your school's Family and Operations Coordinator, or FOC, as we refer to them here in the district. Each school has at least one FOC who is available, and their primary and sole responsibility is to be the liaison between parents, families, and the school. So if you have any concerns, reach out to your FOC. If that doesn't work, reach out to the Solution Center. But we are all working together to ensure that we can solve any issues that may arise so our young people can continue to thrive. Next slide. As many of you are already aware, this year we have embarked upon a very important and very intentional plan which involves professional development that is embedded in the school day. So as you know, this school year, we have begun Tomorrow will be our second delayed opening, but we have begun to implement job-embedded professional development for our teaching staff as one of the key levers to help impact instructional gains. We know that coming out of the pandemic, we have to double down on our efforts to ensure that we accelerate our students' learning so that we close any opportunity gaps that were exacerbated by the pandemic. Our teachers need our support. Our teachers can't do it without the time, without the training that is necessary. So these professional development days are held every other Wednesday, but only 2 Wednesdays per month. They are on our district calendar, but this is just a reminder for any families who need support during these mornings with before-school care. All principals at all schools are prepared to receive students at the regular start time on these Wednesdays. If it is an inconvenience for you to have your child come in 2 hours late on these 2 Wednesdays per month, we don't want to create a barrier, and we intentionally are planning so that that won't be an issue and have planned. So again, the district will officially offer before school programming, which will start on October 12th. Officially, but now we are still, tomorrow, we have plans in place to receive your young people if you cannot have them come 2 hours late. If you are interested in taking advantage of the before school programming, it is critical that you sign up. We sent the surveys around. I think we have about 300 families who have let us know that they are interested, but there is still time to sign up and register because we know that circumstances change. So please do so. There is a QR code located here, and it will also be on our website and all of our social media outlets. You can also find the link, as I shared already, on our district website. And last but not least, you can call your child's school directly, or the Solution Center, or the Welcome Center. Reach out to your FOC, your child's teacher, the principal. There are many individuals who can provide you with answers to your question. Someone can help you sign up if you need this support for your child during our Wednesday delayed start days. I wanted to pause there because I want to make sure that our school community knows how important it is for us to offer this training to our teachers. We can't expect more of them if we're not going to invest more time and training that they need to differentiate instruction, to make sure they can teach small learning groups, intervene one-on-one. We know that all of that is very important. So again, that should not be a burden to our families. I want to make sure it's really clear. So again, we're here, we're excited about this initiative, and we're also excited because we get to pilot a before school program, and if it's wonderful, we can keep this going on and on and on. So this is a great opportunity for us to pilot. Next slide. So in front of you, you see our district vision. And I want to share with you that there are some revisions, minor revisions, to our district vision. As we welcome everyone back to school for this 2022-23 school year, I do want to take the opportunity to share with you our revised vision. Our vision continues to place students at the center of every decision we make in the district. Research demonstrates that students' learning environments are critical to promoting strong academic gains as well as good socio-emotional development. So as you take a look here, you'll see there are some minor revisions, but the vision statement for the Camden City School District from this point until we revise it again is the Camden City School District will provide learning environments where all students are valued, accepted, that's a new word that we've added in as well, and prepared to positively impact their lives, the community, and the world. And so moving forward, you will see us branding this new vision on our website, on our social media outlets, and then cascading it down so it is also present on all of our school websites and all of our school information. So please I just want to say that we're excited to refresh our vision, and we are also recharged and ready to make sure that we are living out this vision and aspiring to fulfill it completely. Next slide. In addition to thinking about our vision at the beginning of the school year as a district, I want to also share with you our strategic plan and goals, just the goals and the goals that are summarized and some of our anchor belief statements. So over the last year, we've been working to finalize our new strategic plan. I have shared in the past iterations of the belief statements, and today I'm excited to share our fully revised belief statements. These have been vetted through our colleagues at the Department of Education. They have also been vetted through our leadership team, as well as various feedback stakeholders through our feedback loops that we have held. These statements serve as the apex of why we do what we do, and you see them listed right in front of you. These statements are also what has guided our anchor goals. As a reminder, these statements and goals were reviewed again. I want to make sure it's clear. It wasn't one person who came up with this, two people, a team, but reviewed and vetted by multiple stakeholder groups during the last school year. While we are still in the midst of revising our full strategic plan, I am pleased to share these belief statements and summarized anchor goals. What you see on the right, we will post the more comprehensive anchor goals on the district website. So again, if you just take a look there, you'll see our core beliefs and goals, and they will be posted for you so you can take a look at them on our website. But just wanted to bring them back to you in their revised state. Next slide. So now I'll just share a few more updates from September, and then we will continue with the rest of our board meeting for this evening. From the Division of Teaching and Learning, again, I keep talking about the necessity to intentionally focus with a laser-like intention on closing opportunity and achievement gaps that were exacerbated by the pandemic. So this is another program that helps us to do just that. To address the pandemic's impact on unfinished teaching opportunities in English language arts, all high school ELA classes will be utilizing Zinc reading labs in addition to the core curriculum. High school students will complete the Zinc level placement, which will provide administrators, teachers, and students with the data needed to measure, support, and track reading growth. Students who complete the Zinc level placement will have a Zinc difficulty level with a corresponding grade and Lexile level. Students will then receive articles, vocabulary activities, and skills activities that are at their level and are prescriptive to their individual needs. There is time built into the ELA block for teachers and students to use Zinc reading labs in small groups and/or independently as one way to differentiate instruction and individualize reading support for our high school students. Again, it is very, very important that we are able to individualize instruction so that no one is left behind. So again, this is a program that we're looking forward to reviewing the data and coming back and sharing with the board and the public how it is working to close those achievement gaps. Next slide. Camden City School District Start Strong assessment date, so we're rounding out. We're almost at the end of our Start Strong assessment administration. It will end on this week, September 30th. Again, as a result of the disruption to education due to the COVID-19 pandemic, opportunities to deliver instruction and supports for learning acceleration remain a critical priority for not only the Camden City School District, but all districts across our great state. The Start Strong assessment is a valuable tool for teachers, parents, and schools that provide results in real time. The Start Strong assessments are intentionally brief, designed to maximize instructional time and quickly provide critical data to teachers and school leaders. These assessments provide the Camden City School District with the ability to address students' unique needs at the beginning of the school year. And so again, we want to make sure that it is crystal clear. The Start Strong assessments are based on a subset of prioritized prior year academic standards. They are available in ELA, grades 4 to 10, math, grades 4 to 8, Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2, and in Science, grades 6, 9, and 12. They have been administered and will continue to be administered throughout the end of this week in approximately 45 to 60-minute segments, and they will provide immediate results to educators through the assessment platform and will include the same accessibility features and accommodations as the New Jersey Student Learning Assessment, assessments, including forms in Spanish and text to speech. So again, this information and this data is really critical. We have just started collecting it. Again, the assessment will end at the end of this week, and it's just another tool for our teachers to use to pinpoint where our young people are so that they can begin to differentiate, individualize, and do all of the things that they do so well to bridge the gaps that have been created. We will continue to come back and share with you the results of these assessments. Next slide. Another very important assessment that will be administered October 12th across the district for free for all of our students is the PSAT test. The Camden City School District will be participating again in the PSAT for grades 9, 10, and 11. The PSAT is an assessment that acts as a baseline for college readiness and allows our district to check in on our students' academic progress. The test will be administered, as I shared. I'm going to keep plugging this, and we'll have it on the website, but families, Wednesday, October 12th. How is the PSAT timed? It's important for us to know this. Our 9th graders will be taking the PSAT 8, 9. The test is broken down into 55 minutes for reading, 30 minutes for writing and language arts, and 60 minutes for math. Our students will see about 42 questions or tasks for reading, 40 for writing and language arts, and 38 for math. Our 10th and 11th graders will be taking the PSAT, NMSQ. Say that again. Okay. The PSAT date, thank you, has been changed. We had to move that date. It's October 25th. So it's October 25th. We'll make sure that that information is shared out on our websites, but it has been moved to October 25th. But everything that I said about the PSAT remains the same. The administration timeline, the areas that will be assessed, October 25th. Thank you so much to my team. I want to make sure that we have the most up-to-date information out there. So how can parents help students prepare? Our school leadership teams will be sending out a list of topics that will be covered on the PSAT. Make sure you sit down with your child and read over these topics that will be covered. In addition to this list, each school will also send home test-taking strategies in Spanish and English, along with a sample test kit that your child can use to help them prepare for the PSAT. And we'll have other tips that we share on the website, but it is very important that our young people know that this assessment is important because it is going to give them an opportunity to prepare for the SAT. And many of us, I remember taking the PSAT and the SAT, and it does help you to be able to become familiar with the testing environment, the types of questions, the rigor. So we want to do everything possible to prepare our young people and to remove any barrier that would get in the way of them matriculating to college, career, and beyond. Next slide. Transportation. I love the buses. I love seeing the buses this year. We are so grateful. We are off to a great start this year with our transportation team. We are providing a seat for all eligible students, and as any questions or concerns have come up with regard to bus stops, corner stops, Our transportation team has been working diligently and been very flexible and also thinking outside of the box to make sure that our parents and families have the transportation that they need and that we're responsive to some of the concerns that have come up with regard to transportation. But at the end of the day, each and every eligible student, and also those students who have the benefit of having a courtesy route, have been provided that opportunity this year. We have had some challenges with getting the bus to and from school on time. Our transportation department is working with our vendors diligently to make the changes necessary to get our students to school on time. Remember, we have our own fleet of buses, but we still have some bus routes that we contract out because we just don't have enough buses this year to cover all of our routes. But we have been working diligently, and hats off to John Morella, who leads our transportation department, as well as his supervisor, our SBA Ray Cox, and that whole team have been working nonstop. I mean nonstop, to ensure that our families have what they need in this area. We are again providing shuttle service, as I mentioned, for our students that previously attended a neighborhood school that was closed. Please have the students show up at the closed school at 8:25, and a bus from our Camden City School District fleet will pick them up and drop them at their school. We are providing shuttles for the following locations that are listed here, as you can see, and the last shuttle stop from Parkside to Morgan Village Middle School was recently added this week because of concerns that have come up. And so we are glad that we're able to be responsive and provide our young people with the transportation that they need. Still to come, we are going to continue to, still to come, and this is a highlight, teen parent transportation. So one of the things that we want to do is to be able to transport our youngest families. That means our teenage parents and their children to their respective schools. We do that, we've done it, we want to continue to do it. We have our own bus fleet, so now we're able to be a bit more proactive, but every young person, we have an awesome early learning program at our ECDC Center for our teen moms, and I'm gonna say it, our teen dads. I talked to one teen father who is very hands-on with raising his little girl, and shared with him, hey, just because you're not a teen mom doesn't mean you can't take advantage of the child care services at our program. So get the word out. We are getting that word out, but we want you to help us to share that here in the Camden City School District, we are concerned about all of our young people, and we are supporting them every step of the way to get to graduation. So again, we're looking forward to seeing how these things all work together for the benefit of our young people. So again, we'll continue to update you and keep you abreast of what's going on. And a few district highlights. You can go to the next slide. Yeah, so on this slide, this was a great day. We're just highlighting the first day of school, and as you've probably heard, we had some fun. We had a very good time. We had the opportunity to walk one of our students from Morgan Village Middle School. He had the chance to be walked to school by the superintendent, the mayor, the chief of police, some not assembly persons, but also Commissioner, thank you, whoever yelled that out, I needed it. Commissioner Dyer, a few other individuals just surrounding board president, board members, just making sure this was a symbol, right? We walked one person to school, but this was just a symbol that we are working together, hand in hand, to make sure our young people are safe and to make sure that our young people know how important it is that they are able to get to school safely, from school safely, and that we are excited about their learning opportunities this year. So we enlisted the support of the 76ers Youth Organization through their drum corps. We had many people on hand to just support, highlight, and celebrate really celebrate in a positive way the beginning of this school year. And we want to keep that momentum going because that's one day, but we will be going around visiting every school throughout the year on a monthly basis. We may not bring the drum corps line, but we will be able to visit each and every one of our schools so we can ensure that we're sharing the great things that are happening. Next slide. Best the Book Bus is back. So literacy matters, right? Literacy matters. And we know that in our city, I know when I was growing up, and many of you, we used to have libraries, many branches of libraries that we could attend, that we could go to take out books, to have a good time, to relax. And we have some libraries that's building up again, but we also know it's important to build up our youth's at-home libraries. Our young people need to see books in their homes. They need to know that books are just a wonderful part of their daily existence. And so over at the CREAM, Early Childhood Development Center, they had a wonderful back-to-school activity where Best the Book Bus came, a mobile bookmobile, and was able to provide students with books to take home to build up their at-home libraries. And as you can see from the pictures, they just had a wonderful, wonderful time over at the CREAM Early Childhood Development Center. Next slide. Additionally, the Camden City School District was pleased to host a visit from U.S. Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona and Deputy Secretary of Education Cindy Martin. The visit was a part of the Secretary's 5-city tour. He started in the South, I believe in North Carolina, and ended in Camden, but we said that he saved the best for last because he came to Camden as well. We were also joined by Acting Commissioner of Education, Dr. Angelica Allen McMillan and her team, Congressman Donald Norcross, Mayor Karstafen, our advisory board president and members, and a host of elected officials and National Partnership for Schools, School Success partner organizations. What a monumental and historic moment for the Camden City School District. As you can see from the pictures there, our young people from both Eastside High and schools here on the Camden campus had the opportunity on this very stage to sit and have a roundtable discussion with the U.S. Secretary of Education, where they could ask their own questions and be asked questions from the secretary and the facilitator about their experience. And I want you to know that our young people, once again, did an awesome job and represented their city well. I just want to make sure it's very clear. This visit was a highly favored visit for us here in the district, but we were not in charge of all of the components of the district, of the visit. And so because it was a federal visit, there was lots of security, lots of precautionary measures. Remember, Secretary Cardona reports to the President of the United States, so they had to make sure that everything was in alignment with federal expectations for his visit. So even though we hosted, we were not in control of the visit. And I just want to make sure, but I can say that it was a very successful visit, and we got lots of accolades as a district for the visit, our partnerships, and also our young people. And next slide. Last week, we celebrated Security Officer Appreciation Week. We want to say a big thank you. Let's give our officers a round of applause. On behalf of myself and the advisory board members, we want to thank all of our security officers for their hard work, their commitment, and their dedication. We know that in times that we are living in across this nation and this world, with the increase in violent attacks on schools just everywhere, we know how important it is to have security officers who are in place and who are going to be in alignment with the district's vision of ensuring that our young people are valued and that they feel safe as well. And so again, we are very grateful because it is not an easy job to be a security officer, and we know that they're called upon and they have to get pulled in many directions, but our security officers are some of the best, and we will continue to provide them with the training, with the support, and the encouragement so that they know that we appreciate their efforts. Does everything always go perfectly? Absolutely not. But I tell you what, our officers here in the Camden City School District, they bounce back and they come back and they're committed to our young people. So thank you for our security officers who are in the room. Some of them are in the room, they're in the hallway, but we are going to do something even bigger. But thank you. We wanted to acknowledge you in the presence of our board as well as the public. And just a few upcoming events. You can see it, and it's going to be on our website. Save the date. Covanta, the City of Camden, and the district will be hosting its Fall Sustainability Festival on Saturday, October 15th from 10 to 2. There will be plenty of activities, pumpkin patch rides, COVID vaccinations, employment opportunities. Please come out. It's a wonderful time for families, and it's been a great collaboration and partnership. Next slide, save the date. The Camden City School District, in partnership with the Camden Education Association, will be going pink every Friday in October. So pink, pink, pink everywhere in acknowledgement of breast cancer awareness. We want to make sure that we continue to recognize the importance of research in the area of breast cancer awareness, and also just thinking about many individuals who we know of and whose lives have been touched, unfortunately, by this disease. So we want to come together in unity and solidarity in the month of October, every Friday, wearing our pink. Next slide. As I've already stated, Hispanic Heritage Month is a wonderful opportunity to honor the rich Hispanic culture in our nation, our world, and right here in our city. It is also time for our district to remind students and children of all ages about the value of diversity. We want you to be on the lookout for the upcoming district-wide Hispanic Heritage Celebration, which will take place at Veterans Memorial School, and all are welcome to attend. Next slide. Spirit Month. Spirit Month. We want everyone to know how wonderful the Camden City School District is. Please hold your calendars for the month of October. We are celebrating our first annual Spirit Month celebration for the district. Spirit Month is just one way for staff, students, families, and the community to celebrate one another, to show and share district and school spirit. Get ready. I know I am. More details will be shared next week, but again, we want to continue to keep alive how important, how powerful, how much of a mainstay our district has been. Not only for me, growing up here, I wouldn't be standing here in front of you if I did not benefit from this school district, but for so many others of us. So again, let's keep the pride strong and let's share in this celebration of Spirit Month. More information to come. Last slide, please be reminded that the superintendent's board presentation that I just shared will be posted on our website just in case you missed anything or you want to go back and review or share it with others. So please check out that information, check out the website for that information. Our next meeting will be held Tuesday, October 18th, and it will be right here at the Camden High campus. Thank you for your attention. We will transition back to the stage where the board president or his designee will acknowledge our retirees.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent, and Board Member Gillespie. Thank you.
So we would like to send our sincerest best wishes to Megan Cox, Senior Lead Educator, for her 7 years of service. With tears in my eyes, I'm going to say this. To Miss Myra De Jesus, Manager of School Safety, for her 27 years of service. And to Dr. Eva Lau Smith, Music Teacher, for her 32 years of service. We want to thank you for your commitment and dedication to our district, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you, Board Member Gillespie. Turn it back over to Madam Superintendent.
Thank you. Thank you, Board President. At this time, I'll turn it over to our General Counsel who will lead us into our public comments portion.
Thank you, Superintendent. The Camden City School District welcomes the attendance and comments from all members of the public at its meetings. This public comment period is your time to be heard on the agenda items in this meeting. This is not a time to engage in a dialogue with the board, but it is your time to present your comments to the board and the superintendent. Each person who signed up to comment will have 3 minutes. You will be notified when your 3 minutes are up. You cannot yield your time to another person. When it is your turn to speak, please remain at the podium and address all of your comments to the General Counsel or the Superintendent. Please be courteous to your fellow community members and keep your comments within the time frame allotted so that everyone has the opportunity to speak. At the end of the 3 minutes, the microphone will be cut off and we will end your comment time. Please conduct yourself in a respectful and courteous manner. The First Amendment is not absolute, meaning that the board can prohibit language that is inappropriate. So for anyone whose comments or actions either harass, intimidate, or threaten the safety of any person, we will provide you with a warning or immediately end your comment time. In addition, if you curse, use vulgar language, or make personal attacks, we will provide you with a warning or end your comment time. We will not interrupt you during your 3 minutes of comment time unless it is necessary. If a member of the public speaks about a staff member, interruption may be necessary to caution him or her of the danger of slander. Members of the audience should also not interrupt the speaker at the podium. If you have any questions, please ask your questions during your 3-minute comment period. After the public comment period is closed, the superintendent or her designee will address your questions to the extent provided by law. I will begin by calling the names of the individuals wishing to provide in-person comments before reading the written comments. As a quick reminder, all written public comments read aloud during the board meeting are the views of the person submitting public comment and are not the views of the superintendent, the advisory board members, or the Camden City School District. Thank you. And the first person we have signed up for comment this evening is Ms. Vida Neal.
Good evening, Superintendent McCombs, advisory board members. First, I would like to say that I like it that you're working on the QSAC so we could go back to local control of our school district. I know that this advisory board should be getting some limited power back real soon. I also would like to speak on behalf of the food service. You know that I was critical of Aramark for 8 years. And I'm glad that you guys did the right thing by voting them out, because I know they even told y'all that I was coming to advocate for them. Not true. Not with the food that our children was given. Shakira is a Camden girl down home. The food is excellent. Matter of fact, I'm getting calls from parents and employees saying they want to eat. There's no cash registers. So I think we need to get the cash registers online. We're missing some money here in our district. I also would like to speak out in reference to outsourcing students that need to be outsourced out of our district. A lot of these kids are gang members. Bloods and Crips run around here with guns. The problems are not being addressed. We don't have any gang intervention in here, but Ms. Vita has a new policy. We need to let their money go and put them in military school. Save our children. Turn a mouse into a man. And it's not just our boys, it's our young ladies too. So the ones that we know that have attachments, that are violent, that like playing with guns at nighttime and things of that nature, we need to get them help. And unfortunately, our school district can't deal with those sort of things. So Ms. Vita been researching military schools. See, we're gonna have to put them out the district, outsource them to someone who can get them help. Another thing I would like to talk about, Ms. Willis is here. I mentor her children. I have mentored them for about maybe 10 years. And she's going to tell her story tonight. That's why I brought her here. I don't know what it's going to take for us to get parental involvement here. But what I do know is they come out when we give them free stuff. So maybe we need to start having freebies and giveaways at the school board meeting to get some of the parents in here. If that's what it takes to get parental involvement, to make people care about their children, then that's what we have to do. Because I've been critical of this school district for the last 11 years. But what I see is changes for our children, and I like them. But what I don't like is the fact that we don't have no parents that come to these board meetings, that come to events, back to school nights. And before I go, because I got 4 seconds left, I want to say, my scooter is a senior wheelchair. I don't want nobody from this district, I don't care what your title is, telling me to leave it at the door. That is a senior mobility vehicle, same as a wheelchair.
Thank you, Ms. Neal.
If you don't ask nobody to get out of a wheelchair, don't ask me to get out. And do not tell me I cannot come in this building. This is the last time I'm going to put up with that kind of nonsense.
Thank you. The next commenter we have this evening is Antonia Willis.
Hello. One thing I wanted to address is my children's been in public school since being able to be enrolled in. For the last 3, maybe 4 years, my teenage son has been having difficulties between being transferred from one school to another school. They're just passing off problems to each other. Zamir has attended Cattle School for the last 2 years, and they are very much aware of what's going on as far as his behavior, his affiliation, and some things. Zamir was suspended his very first day of school. They weren't prepared for that. They know who Zamir is. I can call, and they know who my voice is. He hasn't been in school. He still isn't in school. When we went to go do the back to school for him from his 5-day suspension, they determined that they just didn't want to deal with Zamir and kick him out of the school and put him off onto vets, which that didn't work out too well because he still isn't in school. DCP&P had to get involved to put him back into school, and he ended up going back to Caddo. He was assaulted by a student there. In return, he physically assaulted her back, and he was the only one that was punished. I'm sure Zamir's going to have makeup work, but he's going to be, given pushback from that, and they noticed from last year, instead of doing in-school suspension, they rather just put him out. That causes me not to be able to be employed because this has been going on for a while, and I'm always on call. I'm always showing up to the child study team meetings, and there's nothing being done at all, and it's very, very frustrating. He's not learning anything, and safety is definitely a concern for me with removing him from one school, and now y'all want to put him into a alternative school where there's other, gang affiliations, I'm sure. It's very stressful for me. Then he has a 13-year-old brother that is, I feel like it's going to be a repeated cycle. And there's only but so much I can do. That's pretty much what I want to say that I know of. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Willis. The next person we have signed up for comment is Javoa Sunkett Brown.
Sorry, I'm so cold I can't think straight. Hello, my name is Javon Slunkin Brown. I want to give thanks to God and the Parents Invincible and the U Board of Education. The reason I'm here is to speak on things that are close to my heart, which is I'm shivering, I'm so sorry, which is our youth. As a young youth here, I'm born and raised in the city of Camden. I live in Florida, but I'm back now. Some of the struggles that I found myself when I was here in New Jersey was trying to fit in, having low self-esteem. I was a teen parent and graduated high school with 2 kids. I see some of the struggles that kids are dealing with now, such as walking by residents that have drug addictions, mental health challenges, crime, a lot more just to get to school. So what I'm here trying to do is work with a program that work with our inner city youth to bridge the gap that what the Board of Education can't do on the outside, reform our kids from the inside out, layer by layer, because at the end of the day, education is one thing, but teaching them who they are, morals, empathy, sportsmanship, those things schools don't offer. So I just wanted to bring myself to you guys to let you know that I'm in a city now, been going 22 years, but I'm back because I have grandkids that walk these streets, and I'm very concerned as a parent and a grandparent, and I want to do whatever I can to work with you guys and the Parents Invincible to bring change. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sunka Brown. Then,
What is the name of your organization again? I'm sorry, I didn't catch the full title of your organization.
Our organization is the Arc Life We Free, and we're a faith-based organization.
Thank you.
the next person for public comment is Jose Ocasio.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I want to discuss our special needs students in our district schools. I've come across some cases where parents are feeling challenged and their child or school due to IEP evaluations not being met properly or fast enough. We know that in some cases, the process can take longer than others, but when it's halfway through a school year, there's a problem. Now that the school year has started, a few district families are concerned their children will be waiting just as long to be evaluated. So in the meantime, students are falling and failing and not achieving due to lack of staff or teachers with no knowledge for students with special needs. How can we assure these parents their schools are equipped to handle cases that students will not be put out or relocated? With the district schools that are left, we should have all schools serving every child with proper resources regardless what their needs are. How can we help with the process so that we can serve our parents sooner than later and that students struggling have the best resources available? I think if a school doesn't have the resources or are not in the position to accommodate a student's needs, they shouldn't wait till the child is failing tremendously to say they don't have the proper resources. It's frustrating enough for the parents getting called to the schools due to behavior issues or failing in class. Students are feeling like they're not smart enough or discouraged around other students. How can we serve the parents that need answers and have been waiting for evaluation meetings since last year? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Ocasio. The next commenter this evening is Karen Luke.
Good evening. Karen Borelli-Luke, Brim Medical Arts. Schedules. Never received an email or a response to my last appearance at the podium with my concerns about schedules. However, today, coincidentally, the same day of the board meeting, I sat in a meeting to address some of the issues that I brought to the board. Students finally received schedules by Friday last week, with the exclusion of some autistic students, their health and PE class, which needs to still be resolved, and the elective issue, which I'm told will be discussed by the end of this week. But while I was sitting here, I was looking at my emails. So exposures. I've asked repeatedly for a direction, almost 3 years, no answers. I have stepped in and done the job, plus my teaching duties, awaiting a direction. I know, Ms. McCombs, you had asked for an answer last week. I have yet to get an answer. But what compounds this frustration today, I received a comment on my lesson plans that I need to include my lesson plans for exposures by the close of business today, which is interesting because I'm not the one delivering the lesson, it's the speaker that's coming in. Since I have been at BRIM since 2004, and all the previous people that held the position of exposures or site manager never, and I say again never, had to submit lesson plans. So why am I being asked to submit lesson plans which impacts my domain 4? I suppose I will submit them when someone can finally give me an answer and a direction about exposures, which is the key to BRIM's magnet status. And I like the fact that you told the students that they can speak freely and about any issues with no fear of retaliation. I think that should also be extended to the staff members as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Luke. The next commenter is Javili Gonzalez.
Good evening. My name is Gavely Gonzalez. I'm the Community Outreach for Ward 1 with Parents Invincible. Today I'll be addressing IEPs, the length of it in the immigrant and undocumented community. A lot of our parents either work 2 jobs and or don't have the resources or means to advocate for their children. A lot of them don't know what it is to have an IEP. So a lot of the parents that I'm currently working with is something that we're currently addressing. First is educating them in IEPs and what it is and what it will do for their child, as a lot of them don't speak the language that students are currently learning at school. So we're currently trying to build the gap. Also, the inability for parents to know their rights, that they cannot miss work. They are afraid to miss work, so they're unable to advocate for their child. So I would really appreciate if we can work on a system that maybe be a faster way, or of not one, either educating the parents, and 2, kind of a faster way on how they can go about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. And then the final in-person commenter this evening is Leah Banks.
Cool. Good afternoon. I am Leah Banks. I'm an educator here in the city of the Kansas City School District. I'm at Yorkshire. I'm a teacher first, but I'm here to speak as a parent. My daughter goes here to BRIM Medical Arts, and as their advocate spoke, as well as Ms. Luke, it is a safety concern that I come from Yorkshire. I can't tell you how many times last year getting a text message from my daughter that it was a fight in school, she was not safe, and it's getting worse this year already, and it's just the beginning. I am a parent that does pick up my daughter every single day amongst probably 6 or 7 other students, and again, thank you to Vice President Nnamdi Nelson for putting out there today on the page for more parent involvement that is needed, but the safety concern is what someone else spoke about. The violence of the gangs that are going on, that's what this stems from, and I don't feel anybody that they can talk to. Security here is not, it's not that. I'm not saying that they're afraid, but I know they also have a job to do. I don't feel like I can do my job at Yorkshire if I have to come over here and I'm going to be a parent to my daughter. The second thing is the scheduling. It kind of did get fixed, but amount of substitutes that those children have, high school-wise. I have 9th and 10th graders that I take home every day that speak to me about being able to go into the classroom, and they have subs. They have PSATs to take, they have SATs to take, and major subjects, geometry, algebra, are not being given. They're not being instructed. They're going into subs, and I think one of the students told me they're doing some kind of learning online right now. And I mean, to me, that's not fair. My daughter's in the 11th grade. She's number 3 in her class right now. She had no 3rd period class. She has 2 4th period class, 2 different teachers. Again, I spoke on behalf of Ms. Luke before, having to teach exposures. That's not her position. She's a health and PE teacher. So, I mean, I think we need to do better at looking. I know there's a shortage of teachers. I'm a teacher as well. But I just feel like, I don't know, something needs to be done. My daughter was in that position last year with substitutes, and it's causing a problem because the kids go in and they're like, oh, it's a substitute, and now they're in the hallways, and that's also causing a problem for the school as well. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Banks. There is one written comment this evening that I will read before turning it back to the superintendent. Written comment is from Rick Cruz. Hi, everyone. My name is Mr. Cruz, and I'm the parent of a 10th grader who attends Woodrow Wilson High School. I never spoke here or had someone read my story before. I try very hard to stay involved in my son's education, and working night hours can be hard at times, especially being a single parent with a teenage son. My son recently came to live with me last school year, and we tried a few schools until we saw that Woodrow Wilson was best fit. My son came here not knowing much English, and so challenges came with that also. As of today, my son has learned enough to get by and is doing very well in classes. I say this because staff and teachers, even other bilingual students, helped him along the days. He almost gave up and wanted to go back to Puerto Rico because it was easier to understand due to his first language. I'm here to say thank you for having resources at Woodrow Wilson for bilingual students like my son. His challenges are becoming easier to deal with and love school more. I hope people see the good at Woodrow Wilson and not listen to the bad. This is our story, and to me, he's winning. God bless you all. And thank you, Josie from Parents Invincible, for helping me to get my story heard tonight. Thank you, board members and superintendent. Thank you, Mr. Cruz. And with that, superintendent, I will turn it back to you for comments.
Thank you. All right, there we go. Thank you. I want to thank everyone who had the opportunity who took the opportunity, availed themselves of the opportunity to come and to speak at our board meeting tonight. Again, because we're able to hear from multiple sources, not only our students and their experience, but our parents, our educators, our community members, community advocates. Our board is able to get a full understanding of, what the experience is like for our young people as we're continuously working to improve our outcomes here in the Camden City School District. So first, I want to say thank you for all of your feedback and all of the concerns that you raised. Some of them we can address right away. Some of them may take a little bit of time, but I'm going to do my best to speak to the general themes that came up tonight. But please know that you still have the opportunity to reach out, even if your concerns are not fully addressed here in this setting, so that you can have what you need in order to support our young people. So I want to start off first. I know there were a few concerns that were raised around student supports. What supports are we giving our young people? One of the things that has been very critical and one of the things that I've been thinking about and researching and just trying to figure out innovative ways to address have to do with student engagement and making sure that our young people are engaged, but also that we're doing everything possible to re-engage our young people who may have been disconnected during the pandemic. And I say that, you might say, well, what does that have to do with the comments that came up? But when we think about our community and we look at some of the gang activity and the gang violence that is occurring not only here, but across our nation, education, we know that some of that is a result of more young people who did get disengaged during the pandemic and may not have been able to find their way back safely or may not have the support at home that is needed to guide them. But it is up to us all to figure out innovative ways to support our young people in their engagement and re-engaging. So we are working very diligently. I am diverting more efforts, attention, and resources to making sure that as a superintendent, I have a laser-like focus on what are we going to do to make sure that our young people make it across the finish line, not only for just because of a graduation rate, but because we know that if they do not graduate, they are more susceptible to becoming involved in some of the things that were just talked about by our community members and parents, which have to do with getting involved in some unsavory situations and being influenced by people who are guiding them in the wrong way. So please know that as an educational community, I welcome your feedback and your support and comments, but I also know we have our job to do in educating our young people. And then if there are those young people who are not able to stay in the school setting for whatever the challenging behaviors may be, then we have other alternative settings that we went over in detail on last board meeting, but other alternative settings that could help our young people if they need a smaller size, if they need case management, if they just need a different pathway. Gateway to College, Pride Academy. We've built up a new middle school alternative program this year because we do know it's very real. I don't just keep saying it over and over for nothing. The pandemic really hit us. That's not an excuse, but we just have to work differently and very skillfully and with wisdom to figure out how to help our young people get back on track. So I said all that to say that I hear your concerns, we hear your concerns, and we will continue to keep the board informed of what we're doing to be innovative in the area of student engagement, re-engagement, and supporting our young people who are having challenging difficulties, because that impacts every aspect of their experience, and it also spills over into other young people as well. Specifically, I also want to address Ms. Willis. Thank you for sharing your story today. It does trouble me, as well as I'm sure the rest of our board members, that this has been your experience over the first few days of school. Before you leave tonight, please see Dr. Joanne Berkeley. Dr. Berkeley, can you please stand and raise your hand so that everyone who is aware of who you are? Dr. Berkeley is our deputy chief who is in charge of student support services. Those are the support services that are necessary to make sure that our young people have what they need to engender a healthy climate. Dr. Berkeley will work with you, Ms. Willis, and others, the school and the director for special services, to ensure that your son has what he needs to be successful. In regards to the suspension, our chief schools officer will be investigating the matter, and I will follow up accordingly to ensure that appropriate procedures are followed for suspensions and appropriate process for special education placement. Our Department of Special Services is working with Principal Dixon to ensure appropriate placement. I have shared with school leaders at the beginning of this year, and I have shared with all of my staff. Everyone knows by now that it's not business as usual when it comes to suspending our students for multiple days. I am looking and digging into the data, and trust and believe there will be accountability, because every time we close the door to a young person, they're going to go back out into those streets and figure out another way to make sure that they are valued. If we don't value them, they will find somebody else to value them. If we don't prepare them, they will find someone else to prepare them. So I just want to make sure I'm serving notice. I'm not saying this because I've said it behind closed doors. I've said it one-on-one. I've said it in my executive leadership team meetings. It's to say we cannot bleed students. We cannot bleed students. And so that means we will have in-house suspension. It will be set up. There is a timeline by which I am expecting it to be in place so that our young people, we're not releasing them out to the streets, but we're finding ways to support them here. And then if they can't handle that, then we go to the next step. But it's not about an elite form of education that's only for that there's a have and have-nots. We can't do that anymore. It's about ensuring equity for all of our young people. So I'm saying this in response response to what was brought up, because I want you to know that is a non-negotiable for me. Yeah, I smile. Yes, I'm kind. Yes, I am open and I love everyone. But guess what? When it comes to our young people, and if we are in the business of closing the door and shutting them out, we're in the wrong business. Whether it's as a teacher, a school leader, a principal, an administrator, a superintendent, it does not even matter. Our young people don't have to earn a right to be in school. We have to figure out how to keep them, because guess what? If we lose them, we don't have a job. Wrap. I'm not going to keep going, but I want you to make sure it's really clear. That's one thing that this superintendent cannot stand by and watch happen anymore. So everyone understands and will see what it means to be held accountable to our young people. If we say we are putting students first, that means we're putting all students first, not just the smart ones, not just those who are able to be our shining stars. Every last one of them deserves to be put first until they can get to their place. I went a little long there, and I wasn't trying to do that to be on a soapbox, but what I'm saying is we've got to do something differently. And if we as a district can show that we love, care for, and value our young people, that's what's going to boost enrollment. That's what's going to how are we going to keep kids in if we're out? No, that is not it. So again, I will be coming back and sharing with you, Board President, Vice President, this board. That is a passion of mine, and we cannot continue to contribute to the gang culture, but by not doing what we can do here to turn lives around and to change minds. Next, I want to also just address very quickly some of the other areas which are looped in and theme under a specific theme. Bear with me for one moment so I can go back to my notes. Okay, all right. Miss Sunkett Brown, the Deputy Chief of Students and the Senior Director of Family Engagement, will follow up with you to inquire about your resources and potential supports that you also can provide the district. I'm not sure, she was over there. I'm not sure where she went. She may have left. But please reach out to our staff members so that we can learn more about what you have to offer and see if it is a fit for our district and what we are doing for our young people. And it sounds like it is. Timeliness of IEPs. The Department of Special Services will ensure that we continue to respond within the timelines for issuing a completed IEP. Mr. Sharon Landy, who is serving as our acting Director of Special Needs, will speak with all parents, if she has not already, to address your concerns. If you don't get your concerns addressed, please reach out to your Parent Solution Center, your FOC, your school leader to make sure that you are able to get the support that you need. And if you don't get any help there, reach out directly to my team. Addressing student safety, there was an altercation last week that the district is aware of and is still under investigation. That altercation occurred over at Farnham Park. We have been in coordination with the Chief of Police, the Camden County Police, Chief Gabe Rodriguez. Our mayor is also working collaboratively along with our board president. We are working to assure that something changes. And Vice President Nelson, I was not able to be there with the initiative that you put forth, but that is exactly what we need and will continue to push. So we know it is all of our responsibility. Once the young people leave the school grounds, even though our officers go over and do what they can, the Camden County Metro Police, they are also present as well. And so what we're trying to do is just to make sure that we can become more proactive, because we have the man and woman power out there, but we just got to figure out how to get to the root cause so it doesn't even escalate to the fighting that we have seen. Addressing student learning and subs. Thank you, Ms. Banks, for sharing your concerns, and I believe there was another parent also who shared the concern. So we do know, and you addressed it yourself, there is a national teacher shortage. I won't go into the statistics, but there's also a shortage right here in the state of New Jersey. Tomorrow I will be sharing on a board with New Jersey School Boards Association and other leaders across the state with regard to what that means for the workforce. What does that mean, for colleges and universities who are training teachers? What does that mean when we see less people interested in becoming teachers? We have to do different things that are outside of the box. And so one of the things is that we are currently working with Edgenuity, which provides certified teaching staff in various subject areas which we know our students need. So while a substitute teacher may be supervising, the lessons are being taught by a subject area certified teacher. This is just a stopgap, as opposed to putting a sub in the room without any credentials, because we just don't have subs that are able to have all of the credentials that match our vacancies, especially in sciences and the higher level mathematics areas and some of our special education areas as well. This is a stopgap measure only until we can get teachers in. We're recruiting. Our Division of Talent and Labor Relations are working diligently on recruiting and reaching out. Programs in connection with higher ed association, higher ed schools and administrators to think outside of the box. Rowan, Rutgers University, we're spinning our wheels, but we can't create teachers that don't exist. So what we have to do is get creative. And so with Edgenuity, we're able to access virtually teachers who can teach in an online fashion while having another individual in a room as a stopgap measure to not having anyone with a certification or having someone in front of students who does not know the content area. We will continue to report out. Currently in our district, we have a 7% vacancy rate when it comes to teachers. That rate is pretty much similar across the state and in our nation, and it's higher in some places. But we are not resting on our laurels. That's not an excuse. We are still working diligently to do what we can to close those vacancy rates out. And I believe there were other, Ms. Borelli-Luke, you had some specific concerns with regard to scheduling and also some of the concerns that you have not had a follow-up on. I'm asking my team, who I've designated to follow up with you, to make sure that follow-up occurs by Friday, no later than close of business Friday, so that we can be responsive and close that conversation out as it needs to be dealt with. Scheduling. Thank you for your patience. We know that this year, because we have been trying to expose our young people to many different opportunities, CTE opportunities, et cetera, that some of our students, especially at Brim High School, had to have some changes that occurred within their schedule. So I'm going to ask if Ms. Luke and Ms. Banks, if you want to meet with our team that covers the special scheduling area. I'm going to direct you to Dr. Marilyn Martinez, who's our Chief Schools Officer, who can support in closing out any of your concerns in that area. If it's a specific curriculum concern, you can reach out to our Chief Academic Officer, Ms. Christy Witzel, and she will be also able to support from her end. But we need to make sure this is resolved expeditiously. And I think those cover the main topic areas that came up. Again, please know that you can always reach out. Thank you to Parents Invincible, Josie and the rest of the team for supporting our families in sharing their concerns. Thank you to Ms. Vida Neal, who I think has left, but for bringing Ms. Willis and supporting our parents, the parent that she brought in to share those concerns. That's what we all have to do, support one another so that we can get the concerns heard and addressed. So please know that we will do so moving forward. Thank you. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to the board secretary to take us through the business office items. Actually, I just jumped. Sorry about that. We're going to go to the board. I'll turn it over to the board president so that he can facilitate any feedback, comments, questions, or concerns from our advisory board members.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Superintendent, and thank you, community and concerns that many of the family members and parents and teachers that spoke out today. At this time, is there any board member that would like to speak to some of the issues. Yes, ma'am. Board Member Gillespie.
Thank you, Board President. First, I want to say thank you, Madam Superintendent, for the before school program. I want to be transparent with the community and parents that I know the PD seem as an inconvenience. However, it is very much important for us as we are trying to increase our CUSAC score and what I believe is instruction and programming, which will help us gain that sustainable local control that we're talking about. So I just ask that you be patient with us as we're just trying to figure it out. But I am happy that we have a solution in place for that. Also, I think I spoke in our committee meeting about it, but for those children who are walking in that 2-hour delay, maybe requesting to communicate with CCPD for certain areas to patrol. It's a lot of high volume of negative activity happening during that time that I don't think our scholars should be exposed to. Also, I wanted to know about an update on vandalized buses. I know it was a report of some vandalism done. Can we get an update to see if those damages were able to be repaired? For Camden High campus, we had a few concerns about the air in the cafeteria. Apparently it was hot, which I'm confused because I'm freezing in here. So I just want to know what's going on with the system. And then also what the plan is for the upkeep for the football trailers and the long-term plan for a new field house for Camden High. You addressed the question about staffing. I just want to give a shout out to Ms. Solomon, who I know has been working really, really hard. Please know that she is doing her due diligence and trying to find teachers. Like we all know, it is a shortage, but we are doing the best that we can. Lastly, which has been brought up a few times today, the incidents happening after school, and I know addressing the root cause. I know we hired additional deans of climate and culture. I just want to know what we are doing with them, their job in the school, maybe suggesting we do more peer mediations. If it's too much for staff, that we call in parents and community leaders, for they can reach them in a different way that teachers and staff cannot. And also for the in-house suspension population, that if they are in that space during school, that we have community leaders be able to come in and reach them in a different way as well. And lastly, thank you to everyone who attends the board meetings and speaks up. It's very important that, like Ms. Vita said, we have parent involvement. It doesn't work unless we're working together. So please encourage people to come. I don't know what incentives we can do to try to get a crowded room, but I'm up for the challenge if we need to, run around and scream that we're giving away something free, but trying to get as many people here as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Gillespie. Vice President.
Excuse me for my voice. I just want to give a shout out to Naima because I got credit for making a call to action today, but she actually reached out to me earlier about making this call. So it's definitely a collective effort. So thank you.
Indeed. Thank you both for that effort. And any other board members? Okay. Here you go.
All right, we back. I think Naima most certainly hit on many of the topics that I was going to speak on, so I thank you for that. And again, I just would like to say thank you again, you two, today for the call to action. I'm sorry, I've been training all week up in North Jersey, so I could not get down here fast enough, but I made the meeting. So thank you guys again. To all of the educators, I just really want to say thank you. It has been a tough start to the school year, but it has also been a smooth transition, I believe. The schedules have been a big hiccup. I get a phone call about every day from 10 o'clock in the morning to about 10 o'clock at night saying, I wish they fixed this. I can't get my third period class, or whatever the case may be. So thank you to whoever is working behind the scenes to get these schedules together. And thank you, educators, for staying on top of us to make sure that we get these schedules together. The safety, most certainly, is one of my biggest concerns. and I believe that we're all working on it. However, how close are we into finding, I guess, a director for public safety or director, yes, of safety and security? Because I do know that the person who is most certainly leading the efforts, I believe is going to be leaving us soon. So I want to make sure that we have someone adequate, because she does an amazing job at what she do here to protect all of us when we're out and about. Her security are always on point. So I just want to make sure someone is going to fill that gap and be as amazing as she is. And I'm hoping that we can probably come up with a solution to keep her a little while longer, so that we can you know, not have to go through that storm, and find out how we can at least accommodate her while she's still here, and hopefully we can keep her a little longer. So I think that was just all I had. And again, just thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Well, that's it, Jeanette. Well, I just want to echo everything that everyone stated tonight, and, you know, just put it in different terms as I reflect on, you know, all that was said tonight and by my colleagues here on the board. I think one key takeaway I think many of us are saying is, you know, far as the security situation, our young people, is that I think Sister Naima said it best, is the teamwork between parents, community. You know, I think there was a young lady today who was present when we went there to support Sister Naima and Vice President's initiative to get community to get out there in the community. And I spoke to a young student, I can't remember her name, but, you know, she spoke well, and she talked about, you know, the issues, the root issues about some of the violence that's happening, you know, not just in Camden, but particularly around the country, but not in Camden as well. But she was saying that the key thing she was saying as a young person was parental environments, parents, you know, parents have to get involved with the students. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, was what's here, but I do know we show this on YouTube, and hopefully we'll be streaming it again back on Channel 19. But we can't stress enough of the parents' involvement. And as you see, many of those who were, you know, not necessarily, I don't want to say against, but vocal about the school districts over the years, you even seeing them saying how, listen, we have a beautiful new campus here. We have, you know, I know it's the national teacher shortage, but I think a lot of the district, the city administrators, the Camden County Police Department, the security officers, everyone has stepped in, you know, the board members doing what we do with many of the outreaches that many of some of the board members have and the concerns they do in the community. Brand new school, you know, pouring more money into, you know, other schools for equity, but we have to step up in the community with parents and involvement with people in our community. We cannot continue to turn a naked eye to what goes on in our community. We have to treat it as is all of our concern. And I don't want to get preachy. I know it's late and cold, but nevertheless, you know, just tune in to many of the platforms that many of us have to have that discussion. And I'm cold. Thank you.
Thank you, Board President. I won't keep us long, but I don't want to ignore some of the comments that were raised, and we can certainly have other conversations offline. But for the good of the order, Board Member Gillespie, thank you for the concerns you shared. That was a very robust teaching and learning committee meeting that I had a chance to sit in on. When it comes to vandalized buses, I'll ask our SBA if you can take that item and if you know any updates on the air conditioning and the cafeteria, just real quick, the vandalized buses, where are we?
Thank you, Superintendent. Yes, Board Member Gillespie. Right now, at this time, we have 3 of the 6 buses returned to operation from our mechanics there who are assisting us. We're expecting the other 3 buses to be back online by the end of this week or the beginning of next week at the latest. So that way we'll have all of that kind of in place and those 6 buses back up and running. We have worked with the City Metro Police Department to assist us in providing kind of an exterior security camera and kind of an eye in the sky to add extra security and visuals presence there. And they've also stepped up and enhanced security presence around there for their various patrols. Additionally, we're working with an electrician to put a larger, more bright, I should say, spotlight on that exterior of the building, so that lights up the lot more, so it's more visible for passersby to see what's happening and who may be in that lot during the evenings. In regards to the campus here, as you know, we've had a number of issues from HVAC to alarms to plumbing to electric that we're continuing to work with SDA to have addressed. Even though a number of items have kind of run out of the warranty now that we've been open for a year, we're still pressing SDA to fix those items at their cost and their expense, because a lot of these items are beyond what a new building should have gone through. A lot of it, personally speaking, is subpar from a construction standpoint. That should not have been signed off on by the general contractor. So we're working with the general contractor along with the SDA to have those items issued, to have those items addressed. For the field house and here at CHC, that's part of an overall larger scope and project that we're looking at for athletic campuses here for Camden High as well as Eastside. Thankfully, over the last week or so, we were able to have the temporary bleachers installed here at Camden High. Next week, beginning next Tuesday, the temporary bleachers will be installed at Eastside High. So while these bleachers are temporary to address safety issues that were ongoing with the older bleachers, we are looking to address a more permanent solution. So we are working with our architect and our engineering firm to kind of look to see how we can enhance the overall field and athletic complex for both schools. So in terms of the trailers right now, they will be being maintained by the district, but we are looking to see what long-term solution we can have in that area. Okay.
And if I may, Madam Superintendent, I want to publicly thank Mr. Cox for your initiative in that which you just spoke about, along with Mayor Karstoffen and Madam Superintendent. They have been working hard and strong on making sure that our facilities are in shape to present to our families, our children, and for those who are incoming. And that I know they've been working overtime and doing a lot, and there's more coming. Eastside High is coming. It's kind of, as a former athlete, many years ago, a former athlete, our superintendent, and of course, Mayor Karstoffen. I think it's like, looking at that, we just all said, come on, we along with the board members that are here, it said we got to go in hard. And it's not that we're excluding academics, but we want to make sure that sports is a vehicle, extracurricular activities with the mayor, with our superintendent being the, our cheerleader captain. Those things open up doors to gather our young student athletes to become academically talented and to come back to their communities and do many amazing things. And sports is just a vehicle. We're not just focusing on that, but we would like to use sports as a vehicle so that our children can have opportunities, scholarships, other opportunities, being around mentors. You're talking about some of the violence, the gang violence, as a deterrent for gang violence is, get your children involved to our parents. Have the children can't sit around with idle time. Teenagers can't sit around. We can start with them early, get them involved, because everybody's not going to go pro, but everyone is going to have opportunity to do something to get back in the community and also be a mentor to others. You think about it, some of the mentors you think about as us, teachers, coaches, and ministers and pastors are two people that you probably can name all of those people in your lives right now as we get older. So that's very, very important. So I just want to point that out, Mr. Cox, Madam Superintendent, and give acknowledgement to Mayor Karstoffen and this board here that's with us, making sure that we have, that our football teams is being presented with, the tools to succeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Board President, and thank you, Board Secretary, for sharing those items. I will ask Board Member Gillespie, if you don't mind, I'd like to have for the Teaching and Learning Committee to place on the next agenda Dr. Martinez and Dr. Berkeley to share what the Deans of Climate and Culture, how they are supporting, what their roles are, and what the efforts are in alignment with conflict resolution and peer mediation. In-school suspension, I heard what you shared there, and yes, we can definitely incorporate community into working with our young people as well. Board Member Custis, you hit on safety, and you also hit on Myra DeJesus, who's going to be exiting out. I've been trying to keep her. Please, if you can get her to stay, let me know, and I will quickly rescind that resignation. But we are definitely so very grateful for her and for her years of service, almost 30 years of service to the Camden City School District. We will never be able to fill her shoes. She stepped up when we needed her to. Myra, we thank you. And I know that our school business administrator is already looking at the hiring process for filling her shoes, which we will not be able to do. But we will keep the board engaged on how we are moving forward with that process. And at that, I'll turn it over to the board secretary to present the business office agenda items. And before that, board president would like to share.
Yes, I think we have a comment from our board vice president.
Sure, thank you. So I echo what you said, Board President, in reference to the efforts just to improve our facilities. Right, if I can just, so in reference to our locker rooms, they are being maintained. So, I asked a question. I know we've had conversations in the past, and, at one point in time, they look deplorable. So has those things been corrected since the season has started again? Have we addressed any of those issues in our trailers as we work to, rebuild the field house and work on bleachers, all those great things? Have we done anything with what we currently have?
Sorry, we want to tag team?
Sure.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Mr. Vice President, I do not have any specifics at this time as far as the upkeeps of those trailers. I will definitely speak to the facilities team. I know they've been in there prior to the start of the season to prepare the trailers, to have them ready for the teams during the start of the season. But as far as the specific work that took place, I do not have that information at this time. I can get that for you, though.
Yep, and that's very fair, because we know that with the reorganization that we've had, our business administrator is picking up some of those operations areas, and I can say that the work that needs to be done, even with the work being done, it's still not going to put those trailers in a position where we would be able to be proud of where they are. So we're going to do the best that we can, and I'll follow up so that we can make sure, but we just need to really have new trailers, a new field house, and that's what we're advocating for. But in the meantime, I know we need to do something, because you brought that up to me before, and I passed it on. We've reorged, and now we need to bring it back. Thank you for continuing to hold us accountable.
And Madam Superintendent, and also too, is I'm seeing a lot of the difficulty is that they're trying to work around the season, in the middle of the season, and going different things and dealing with different things, but these things have to be addressed. And I think that we talked about some short-term goals, and as well as some long-term goals. So a lot of people, when they see, many of us are board members, when we're attending some of those football, basketball games and volleyball games, just there, and sometimes it seemed like we might seem to be a little rude, and I don't want to use the word rude, a negative connotation, is that a lot of times when you see us there with people, we bringing in partners and different people that can, try to help with some of the budgetary issues that we may have. There's a lot of people that want to do a lot. Please listen out, community, for more announcements on what we can do as a community to help and assist our young people, not only in our teachers are doing the best that they can do in the classroom, but with extracurricular activity that can keep many of our young people busier and striving in the classroom. There's going to be more announcements coming out of involvement for the community of what we can do to assist in our community and not just sit on the sidelines, but get actively involved. So sometimes when you see us come to games, we're there with people, we're there bringing people to these games. We're not just showboating and trying to be important. We had our day, okay? But we're trying to bring resources and many things into our young people, and that's what we're trying to do. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I'll turn it over to our board secretary to present the business office agenda items.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, this evening I present to you our finance and operations agenda, which includes our bill list totaling $32,739,121.52. I'll open the floor for any questions you may have. Seeing none, I'll turn the meeting back over to our superintendent.
Thank you, Board Secretary. In accordance with the powers vested in the State District Superintendent under Title 18A, I hereby approve today's superintendent's agenda items and business office agenda items. I can get right back over to the Board Secretary for adjournment.
Thank you, Madam Superintendent. At this time, I'll open the floor for the magic motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:50 p.m. on the 27th day of September. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? All ayes. Any opposed? Hearing no one, this meeting is officially adjourned as of 7:51. Ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful evening.